1 week after a K-State student claimed to have had a racist note posted on his door, he's admitted to writing the note himself.
Some local Manhattan residents have found a new and unique way to work out. All that and more on Channel 8 News.
Beautiful day here in Manhattan, Kansas. It's a little bit chilly outside, but the skies are clear and the sun is shining, which should help you warm up throughout the day.
This is KKSU-LD, broadcasting in high definition from Kansas State University, covering Manhattan, Riley County, and the Flint Hills. You're watching Channel 8 News.
Welcome to Channel 8 News. I'm Mason Voth.
And I'm Michaela Kitchen. Today we will see a new workout regimen that is in Manhattan and how Manhattan celebrated the 100th anniversary of Armistice Day.
But first, an update on the racist note that was found on a student's door last week. Last Monday, the K-State community was shaken up after a student received a racially motivated note hanging outside of his apartment. As the investigation went on, the K-State police discovered a plot twist that shook the community. Reporter Monica Diaz has the story.
And I would like to sincerely apologize to every single one of you. I realize my actions displace some severe damage upon the community. Can affect every single person in this room, every single one of you all.
On November 5th, Broderick Burst posted on Twitter a picture of a paper which contained a racist slur that he claimed to find outside of his apartment. Burst took to Twitter and posted the photo, which went viral within hours. The K-State police were addressed and immediately began investigating, which resulted in them discovering that the post was a hoax posted by Burst himself. Police officer Bradley Millington said the police found the culprit within 48 hours.
The initial call on the first day it came in, patrol started it, we went to investigations, and then we found out the outcome, and where the media release gave the outcome of what happened.
As soon as the police released the final verdict, the situation gave the community mixed emotions. After the racially motivated incident that occurred at Jardine Apartment Complex, students, faculty, staff, and the Manhattan community only have one question left. Why? Burst offered an apology this Tuesday at the Black Student Union meeting. Although this seemed shocking to the community, some were not surprised, since a similar incident occurred last fall when another student posted racial slurs on his own car, posing it as a threat, and later confessed to the crime. Don Saucier is a social psychologist that believes this incident may be a response to microaggressions the student may have faced.
Being frustrated and angry about having to experience microaggressions and feeling kind of helpless about how you can respond to that in any meaningful way, I think that is a normal reaction. I think the specific behavior that we noted in this case was probably more exceptional. That's something that is probably uncommon.
Jeff Morris is the vice president for communications and marketing and said despite the outcome, his first response is to protect the student.
When it comes to the K-State family, that our first reaction is always to think about what's best for our students and keep that in mind.
Burst has yet to release his ulterior motive. However, the case has been solved. In Manhattan, Monica Diaz, Channel 8 News.
Following the investigation, Burst has returned to his home state for Thanksgiving break and hopes the community will forgive and forget this incident.
K-State freshmen were required to read the award-winning novel, The Hate U Give. This novel highlights controversial topics, specifically race and inequality. Coordinators for K-State First, along with professors, put together an event to help students share their perspectives on difficult topics such as race and prejudice. With controversial questions prepared, the students were able to talk in small groups and voice their opinions about these themes.
Being with people from China and Japan, Saudi Arabia, just kind of getting to know like how they feel different here, how they've had to adjust, and kind of.
One K-State club took a different approach to celebrating Thanksgiving. Channel 8 reporter Jordan Pulliam has the story.
When people think about Thanksgiving, images of food and smiling family members often come to mind. But that's not true for everyone.
Here in the Kramer Tallgrass Room, K-State's Social Justice Alliance put on an event to help educate people on the truth about Thanksgiving and food insecurity.
This event was called Unthanksgiving. Jackie Ayala Cruz explained how Thanksgiving has a very different meaning to indigenous people in America. Many call Thanksgiving the National Day of Mourning. Ayala Cruz also touched on the topic of food insecurity throughout our country and even right here in Riley County.
Not everyone has that access to food that some of us take for granted, and also the history of Thanksgiving and how we tend to forget what really happens to the indigenous people after the first Thanksgiving.
To visualize the displacement of Native Americans, people were separated into tables labeled as various tribes. As for food insecurity, a hunger banquet helped visualize this. People were randomly given a ticket which decided if they had low, middle, or high income. Each income level was given different amounts of food as well as different eating utensils. Students in attendance were able to understand the true meaning of food insecurity and discovered what they can do to help.
There's always going to be somebody either more or less fortunate than you, and the big thing is just to help them out as best you can.
The Social Justice Alliance is helping out by donating canned goods that were collected during the event to K-State's campus food pantry, Cat's Cupboard. From Manhattan, I'm Jordan Pulliam, Channel 8 News.
To learn more, or if you're interested in getting involved, you can join the Social Justice Alliance at their meetings every third Wednesday of the month from 5:30 to 6:30 in the Multicultural Student Lounge.
While some K-State students learned more about those with the lack of food, others ate Thanksgiving dinner before they head off for Thanksgiving break. On Tuesday, the K-State Department of Housing and Dining put on a Thanksgiving dinner for those to enjoy at the Kramer Dining Center. Students and many others who attended were able to enjoy many of their Thanksgiving holiday favorites that they would normally see at home. The Department of Housing and Dining set the atmosphere with special Thanksgiving-themed decorations, and students really seemed to take to the night.
So I thought this would be a fun kind of Friendsgiving with some of my friends here at K-State.
I think it's just like a treat for them to get together with their friends, and because that's become their community and their family. So being able to dine here with their friends, I think they really think it's special.
Bye.
There has been other ways Manhattan residents have tried to enhance the community. A local organization has been raising funds to make the Bluemont Hill, better known as the Manhattan Hill, more handicap-friendly. We go live to Kylie White at Manhattan Hill for more. Kylie?
Thanks, Michaela. We're here live on Bluemont Hill, where Manhattan residents can expect to see some changes this winter. The Kiwanis Club of Manhattan has taken it upon themselves to better the Manhattan community, and among their projects is a series of updates on the Manhattan sign. Located on Bluemont Hill, local residents and businesses alike have been donated to the Kiwanis Club to help fund the project. Kiwanis Club President-elect Doug Malone to speak on how important these Manhattan signs is to the Manhattan community.
That Manhattan sign is such a prominent part in our Manhattan community and was our first major project. We thought what an ideal spot to see if we could improve on that somehow.
Along with updating the letters by painting them purple, the Kiwanis Club just began a project to create a handicap-accessible platform that overlooks the Manhattan sign. The platform will give handicapped Manhattan residents easier access to taking the view from the top of the Manhattan Hill.
So we thought this is an area that we could really focus on, is making it easily accessible by everybody. And then we thought, well, what an ideal spot if we're going to get people down there. Let's make it a safe spot where they can enjoy the view. And so that's where we came up with the idea of putting the viewing platform down there. So that's kind of where it all started.
So right now I'm standing where they're going to renovate all of this right here and make it a solid platform. So it's handicap accessible and ADA accessible, which means it's handicap and wheelchair accessible for Manhattan residents. In addition to this, right over here you see these stairs. They're going to make that handicap accessible as well, but they're trying to keep the whole nature look, so they're going to preserve these trees and keep everything that's natural here. They're just going to change the platform to make it smoother, so it is wheelchair accessible. In addition to this, they're going to add a park right back there to make it more like family and kid friendly. In addition to this, the club also painted these letters right down here purple to kind of give it a newer look and feel. In addition to this, this club actually was the original creators of this Manhattan sign right here, and they got the idea in 1927 when they kind of looked and remade Hollywood sign and then funded it themselves right here. It was around $127, which transitions to about $2,000 in today's terms. In addition to this, they also keep it up and preserve it and are in charge of all the funding that relate to it. But yeah, there's going to be some really cool renovations that you can expect to see in the upcoming spring. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kylie. Manhattan's Town Center is raising their taxes to help better the experience for shoppers, and Manhattan has a new way for residents to get fit coming up on Channel 8.
Your identity is who you are.
Feels pretty good. Hurts a little bit when I'm putting pressure on it, but not too bad.
What's your pain level at?
Probably like a 3.
Okay, cool. So much better than yesterday.
Yeah, a lot better.
All right. Well, I'm going to start to slow it down now.
Okay.
This was my first time taking an online course, and well, it went really, really well. It really did not feel like an online course for me. It felt like we were in a classroom talking and discussing and collaborating with each other. It's a renowned university, and I really take pride in calling myself a Wildcat, and I'm really proud that I'm a K-State alumni now. So I think it adds up a lot of value that I'm from K-State.
Welcome to K-State. We're so excited all of you came to visit us here on campus. We're going to be starting our tour here in front of Anderson Hall, which is our administrative building and kind of our iconic building on campus. It houses our president's office and our vice president for student life. All right, let's get started. We're going to be going to the Union next. It houses our pool.
Our local mall in town is over 30 years old, and come this time next year, there may be plans to make it feel newer. Channel 8 reporter Logan Wassel has the story.
Recently in Manhattan, the City Commission approved a sales tax increase for Town Center Mall, which may be receiving some updates in the distant future.
Shoppers pay about 1/2 cent more in sales tax. So the CID will bump the mall sales tax up to a little bit above that level.
CID, or Community Improvement District, allows the Manhattan community to give feedback on the mall and tell what they would like to see improved in it.
The Community Improvement District tool is just that. It helps us improve our facility for the benefit of the community.
And a lot of that Manhattan community is K-State students. Given the fact that students may not be here to benefit from these renovations, it is important to take into consideration what they think of this tax increase.
I think, it would benefit the community to have a nicer mall, a nicer place to go to shop and stuff like that. For like a college student that, I'm probably not going to be in Manhattan super long term. I won't necessarily reap the benefits of it, but also just since it's such a small change, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, I'm not going to go to the mall because they have a tiny little increase in the sales tax.
Over here behind me is the Manhattan Town Center Mall. In April of 2019, it will receive a 7.5% sales tax increase, which is the same as spending an extra 75 cents for every $100 you spend.
And we are looking, at both short-term, what can we do to benefit areas of the mall that help improve the experience for customers right away, but we're looking at those long-term things as well.
Manhattan residents will likely not notice the sales tax increase, but will be contributing together to make Town Center Mall a more enjoyable place for everyone. In Manhattan, I'm Logan Wassel, Channel 8 News.
A new alternative fitness class was introduced to Manhattan earlier this year. A pole fitness studio was opened up in Aggieville. Channel 8 News reporter Amelia Andrews said that men and women are encouraged to try it.
Misty Opat and Amy Ketchum-Wallace opened the first pole fitness studio in the state of Kansas this year. Elevation Studios offers pole and dance classes as well as private parties.
Elevation Studios includes many different types of pole fitness classes ranging from intro to advanced levels, as well as pole yoga.
Co-owner Amy Ketchum-Wallace said that she used to do gymnastics and competitive cheerleading. After seeing some polling videos on YouTube, she thought she'd give it a try.
We are body positive, and we're essentially in the business of building women's confidence. Mainly we have women here, but we do have men too. But it's body positive. We don't focus on size or anything like that. We just want you guys to have fun, and we wanted to create a safe place where any size girl can come and pole and just feel good about herself.
Madison Newman, a pole instructor at Elevation Studios, said that she started poling as physical rehabilitation after being hit by a drunk driver.
It's just a really awesome journey, and being able to help guide people through this is the most uplifting experience I think I've ever been in, not only just as a person, but as a female, being able to help other females.
It's a really cool way to exercise, and it kind of feels like you're just doing cool moves, but at the end of the day, it's like, ow, my muscles are sore, and I'm gaining muscles here.
We are empowering women because they're stepping outside their comfort zone. They're doing something that secretly they've always kind of wanted to try, and it's just making women stronger. They're feeling sexy when they do it, and they just have a good time.
In Manhattan, Kansas, Amelia Andrews, Channel 8 News.
The owners of Elevation Studios plan to expand the current studio as well as potentially opening another one in Topeka. One of the longest-running Veterans Day parades in the state put on its 2018 edition to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Armistice Day.
And can we expect the warmer temperatures to stick around through the weekend? We'll have your Channel 8 weather coming up.
H1 minus H2 plus V1 squared minus V2 squared all over 2. Fans, are you ready?
I was a little hesitant, but I took the time and I looked at it. I said, number one, this is Kansas State University. That's a solid name institution that is a research institution. It's land grant. You're not going to get better than what Kansas State is and what Kansas State stands for.
And you can actually see it.
Come on, more.
Seems as if the cold weather is here to stay. Zeb Wiley has our weather update. Zeb?
Absolutely. Looking at our 24-hour forecast, today's high here in about an hour. We're going to see temperatures that are sunny. It's going to be around 45 degrees. As mentioned earlier, it's going to be a clear day. Later on tonight, around 11 p.m., we're going to see clear skies around 34 degrees. And then in the morning, we're going to see temperatures around 28 degrees. What you got to remember is you need to start dressing warm. It's starting to get cold out there. Temperatures are only going to get colder, so make sure you're wearing your warm weather gear, jackets, scarves, all of that. Looking at our Kansas map, temperatures from the west side of Kansas to Kansas City are gradually going to get colder. The western side, we're going to see temperatures in the low 60s. And then in Kansas City, we're going to see temperatures as low as 48 degrees. Going throughout the week, looking at our Kansas map, it's going to be pretty warm starting out, and then just gradually it's going to get colder and colder. It's going to drop down to 32, and then it's just going to keep getting colder, or a little bit warmer, 36 again. Looking at our 5-day forecast, today 54 is a high. It's going to be sunny out, 25 degrees tonight. On Friday, going to hold basically around the same trend, 55 degrees, 34. On Saturday, it's going to be around 37, and then later on in that day, it's going to be 22, so that's going to give a chance for snow. You got to make sure you're dressed and warm for that K-State game. On Sunday, we're going to still have some cloud coverage, 36 degrees, lower 20s, and on Monday, the clouds are finally going to leave again, so we're going to get some sunshine, 48 degrees, 27 later at night.
Thanks, Zeb. November 11th marked the 100th anniversary of Veterans Day, a holiday created to commemorate all those who have served in the U.S. military. Manhattan observed Veterans Day through their annual Veterans Day Parade this past Monday. The event took place down Poyntz Avenue at Manhattan Town Center. Despite the high wind speeds and low temperatures, the procession received a large crowd, many willing to brave the weather to show their support for our nation's service members. That support is felt far and wide for those who have served, whether it be veterans from World War II or those who have served in recent conflicts.
And what it means to me is just basically remembering the all those who have served or or even going to serve, because I have plenty of family members that are in the military, so it's something that like hits home for me, kind of.
A month ago, a K-State art professor began a collaborative art project to help veterans commemorate their experiences in serving our country. A session was held last weekend on Veterans Day. The smell of burning paper filled the Manhattan Arts Center's creative studio as a small group of veterans worked to memorialize their time in the armed forces through art. Each veteran's project will be stitched together to create a community war story sculpture inspired by the Bayeux Tapestry. The Bayeux Tapestry is an 800-year-old, 230-foot-long tapestry depicting scenes from the Battle of Hastings in the year 1066. Victor Andrews, who was active in the Army for 5 years and in the Air National Guard for 2, created a visual representation of the physical and psychological ailments that the Department of Veteran Affairs has diagnosed him with.
It's unfortunate that the VA looks at me as a list of problems, not really the person, but at the end of the night I get to reflect upon even the fact that I have a problem list, that I'm still a person and I can still keep going on.
The next oral project workshop will take place in March at the Beach Museum. The art produced by participants will also be exhibited next summer at the Manhattan Arts Center and in Lindsborg, Kansas. We'll be back in just a little bit in Channel 8 News to give you your sports.
Left side 3 ball, yes! Throws it down! Wow! Oh my goodness, Steve! Way up above the rim and a block! Derek Brown taking on Gildas Alexander, and he scores! Are you kidding? Kansas State is headed to the Elite Eight!
We are a family that does not tolerate discrimination of any kind.
A family that represents a diverse and eclectic population.
We are
a family that believes
that diversity, inclusion,
and sportsmanship
are expectations.
We are a family that is supportive and seeks to promote a positive and welcoming environment.
A family that treats people with respect and dignity.
An empowered family.
Who empowers family.
We are family, diverse and together.
Now throws it up the glass and it goes in! An and one for Peyton Williams! To the left, it's wide open for Reinke. Yes! Three-pointer!
Goff gets the ball back, left baseline, 8-footer.
Good! Reinke's answer three-pointer. It's good!
The Jayhawks were in town over the weekend to take on the Wildcats, and they played their closest game since 2004. We're going to toss it over to Brianne Smith for sports. Brianne?
Thanks, Mason. The game ball from last weekend's Sunflower Showdown made quite the trip to Manhattan before kickoff Saturday morning. I followed members of the Fiji fraternity to get the story. The K-State versus KU Sunflower Showdown in Manhattan over the weekend was one for a cause. The K-State and KU Fiji fraternity chapters ran the game ball from Lawrence to Manhattan on Friday evening. Carlito Johnson, K-State freshman pledge, explains why this 86-mile relay in the below-freezing weather has been a tradition for the last 45 years.
We do this every year because we had a brother that passed away from leukemia, and he was really into athletics and sports and stuff like that and running. So we do this in honor of him.
The brothers began their journey with the ball in Lawrence, then traveled down Highway 24. When they got to Manhattan, they took a trip through Aggieville. And the ball ultimately ended up here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium, ready for game day. The KU chapter president, Seth Wingerter, is proud to be a part of this fundraising event.
Yeah, I mean, first thing, I don't really feel anything on my hands right now, but the run overall went really well. I mean, I'm really proud of how our guys raised money, and I mean the K-State chapter as well.
Wingerter says that this event is a great way for the brothers to bond.
But I mean, it's just fun. I mean, I was driving up and down. There were a couple guys that I'd never seen before, and they hop in the car, and I mean, it's good getting to know guys from the other chapter.
Fiji welcomes donations to support the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society at any time in honor of their brother. In Manhattan, Brianne Smith, Channel 8 News. In memory of their brother, Rod Morgan, who passed away in 1974, the Fiji fraternity raised over $8,000 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society during this year's fundraiser. K-State faced off against KU last Saturday at the annual Sunflower Showdown in Manhattan. The game was a lot closer than Wildcat fans would have liked. Alex Barnes led the Wildcats with nearly 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Jayhawks answered each K-State point but ultimately fell 21-17. In the last minutes of the fourth quarter, there were 2 back-to-back penalties against KU that aided in their last-minute loss. K-State will face off against Texas Tech in their own senior game this weekend at Bill Snyder Family Stadium with tip-off at 2:30 p.m. That's all we have for sports. Back to Michaela at the desk.
Thanks, Brienne. We will have one last look at the weather in Manhattan and Riley County, and a check of the weather conditions outside right now.
I know financial aid could be a little harder when you're a non-traditional student, but the financial aid office was great about answering questions, putting you in the right direction. It was just a great office.
HDTV and live on Facebook.
They give you all the tools that you need to succeed, from the video modules, well descriptive electronic communication. They really set the expectations clear, and there's really no surprises, and I would definitely recommend it.
The best kept secret in Manhattan is not a secret anymore. I'm Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Wildcats, and welcome to JP Sports Grill. With daily chef-inspired specials, a full bar, and a diverse menu that has something for everyone, this place is guaranteed to impress. JP Sports Grill, your new favorite spot.
Zeb Wiley rejoins us to give us a look at what we can expect this weekend for when the Cats take on the Red Raiders.
Yeah, as mentioned earlier, the weather's going to warm up throughout the week, and then this weekend it's going to start to get cold again. So on Saturday, when the game day is, it's going to be 37 degrees around that time, so you're going to want to make sure you dress warm for that game. And then we also have a chance for snow later that night. And then on Sunday, it's basically going to hold the same trend. It's not going to snow, but we're still going to have a lot of cloud cover. So you're just going to want to make sure you're staying warm, wearing those warm clothing, celebrate the game.
Make sure you follow Channel 8 social media accounts for more news updates and informational video. Well, that wraps up another edition of Channel 8 News.
We'll be off next Thursday for the Thanksgiving holiday, but we'll be back in 2 weeks.
I know financial aid could be a little hard.
This is Channel 8 News.